Have you ever heard of Maple Court? Sounds like a lovely place, doesn't it? Quiet suburban street lined with perfectly manicured lawns and identical mailboxes. The kind of place where neighbors wave to each other and kids ride their bikes until the streetlights come on. But on one unusually warm autumn evening, Maple Court became the stage for a chilling social experiment, one that none of its residents signed up for. It all started with Mrs. Higgins, a sweet elderly woman who lived at number 12. She was taking her little dog, Pip, for his nightly walk. The air was still, and the only sound was the gentle jingle of Pip's collar. As she rounded the corner near the old oak tree, her foot caught on an uplifted piece of sidewalk. She stumbled, tried to catch her balance, and then fell. Hard. A sharp pain shot through her hip, and she let out a cry. Not a loud scream, but a definite cry for help. Pip started barking, a frantic series of yaps. Inside number 14, Mr. Gable was watching the evening news. He heard the cry and Pip's barking. He muted the TV. What was that? He mumbled to himself. He peeked through his blinds, could see a shape on the ground near the oak tree. It looked like someone had fallen. He thought, I should probably go out there. But then he hesitated. Someone else will surely help, he reasoned. The Millers at number 10 are always out in their garden. They must have heard it too. He unmuted the TV, turning the volume up just a little bit louder. Across the street at number 15, Sarah was putting her 2 kids to bed. She heard the commotion and looked out the upstairs window. She saw Mrs. Higgins on the ground, clearly in distress. Her heart sank. Oh, poor Mrs. Higgins, she whispered. She grabbed her phone to call for an ambulance, but then she saw a light flick on at the Gables house, then another at the Petersons next door. Oh good, she thought, relieved. Looks like the neighbors are already on it. I do want to get in the way or have multiple people calling 911. She put her phone down and went back to tucking in her son. At number 10, the Millers had indeed heard everything. They were in their kitchen, washing dishes after dinner. Did you hear that? Mrs. Miller asked. Her hands paused in the soapy water. Mr. Miller nodded, drying a plate. Sounds like someone took a tumble. They both went to the window. They saw Mrs. Higgins, and they saw the lights going on in the other houses. Well, with so many people aware, I'm sure someone has already called for help, Mr. Miller said. We'd just be another car parked on the street, blocking the ambulance when it gets here. They finished the dishes and went to watch a movie. This exact scene, this exact thought process, repeated itself up and down Maple Court. In house after house, people heard the cries, saw the situation, and made the same fatal assumption: someone else will handle it. It's a textbook case of the bystander effect, social psychological phenomenon where individuals are less likely to offer help to a victim when other people are present. The greater the number of bystanders, the less likely it is that any one of them will help. Why does this happen? It's a combination of things. First, there's a diffusion of responsibility. When you're the only one there, the responsibility to act is 100% on you. But when you're in a crowd, or in this case a neighborhood of silent witnesses, that responsibility gets spread out. Everyone thinks someone else will, or should, take action. Each individual feels less personal pressure to intervene. Second, there's the desire to conform to social norms. We look to others for cues on how to behave. On Maple Court, when Mr. Gable looked out and saw no one rushing to help, it sent a subconscious signal that maybe the situation wasn't as serious as it seemed. When Sarah saw other lights go on but no action, it reinforced her decision to stay put. No one wanted to be the one who overreacted, who made a scene. The collective inaction created a powerful, unspoken agreement that the correct response was to do nothing. And finally, there's evaluation apprehension. People worry about how others will judge their actions. What if I go out there and she's just fine? I'll look foolish. What if I do the wrong thing and make it worse? The fear of being judged, of making a mistake in front of others, can be paralyzing. It can override our natural instinct to help. So, Mrs. Higgins lay on the cold concrete. The pain in her hip was getting worse. Pip's barks had turned into worried whimpers. Minutes felt like hours. From her position on the ground, she could see the warm, inviting lights in the windows of her neighbors' homes. She could see the silhouettes of people moving inside. She knew they were home. She knew they must have heard her. But no one came. A feeling far worse than the physical pain began to set in, a profound sense of loneliness and abandonment. It wasn't until a pizza delivery driver, someone who didn't live on Maple Court, turned onto the street that things changed. He wasn't part of the neighborhood's silent pact. He saw a woman on the ground. His immediate reaction was simple. Someone needs help. He pulled over, rushed to her side, and called for an ambulance immediately. When the flashing lights of the ambulance finally cut through the darkness of Maple Court, it was like a spell had been broken. Doors opened. Mr. Gable, Sarah, the Millers. The Millers? They all came out, their faces a mixture of concern and guilt. They offered blankets, asked what happened, and said things like, "We had no idea, and we just heard the sirens." But they did know. Deep down, they all knew. They had been bystanders, trapped in a web of collective inaction. Mrs. Higgins was eventually taken to the hospital and treated for a broken hip. She recovered, but the emotional scar of that night on Maple Court lingered far longer than the physical one. The story of Maple Court is a powerful and uncomfortable reminder of our own vulnerabilities to the bystander effect. It's easy to judge the residents, to say, "I would have been different, I would have helped." But would you? The truth is, this effect can influence any of us. It's a glitch in our social programming. So how do we fight it? How do we become the pizza driver instead of the silent neighbor? The key is awareness. It's understanding that this phenomenon exists is the first step. When you find yourself in a situation where someone needs help and others are around, consciously recognize the potential for a diffusion of responsibility. Then you must make a deliberate choice to take personal responsibility. Instead of thinking someone should do something, think I will do something. Even a small action can break the spell of inaction for everyone else. Be the first person to move towards the person in need. And if you need help, try to counteract the effect from the other side. Don't just shout for help in general. Single someone out. Point to a specific person and say, "You, in the blue jacket, please call 911. This personalizes the request. It breaks the diffusion of responsibility and assigns the task directly, making that person far more likely to act. The incident on Maple Court changed the neighborhood. It was an awkwardness, a shared shame that hung in the air for a long time. But it also started a conversation. Neighbors started talking to each other more, not just waving. They organized a neighborhood watch, not just for crime, but for each other. They learned that a community isn't just about living near people, it's about being there for them. Let this story be a lesson for all of us. Let's pledge to be the person who acts, the person who breaks the silence, the person who doesn't assume someone else will handle it. The world can be a lonely place, but it doesn't have to be. We have the power to make it better, one conscious act of intervention at a time. Let's not wait for the sirens. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that makes you think. And share in the comments, have you ever witnessed or experienced the bystander effect? Let's talk about it. See you next time.